Hi there, welcome to the Accidental Pop Star here on YouTube. My name is Ali Beg. So if you're wondering what this channel is all about, let me very quickly explain. So what I do is I interview pop stars, both past and present, about their own experiences in the music industry and see if we can find common ground, which I'll get to in just a moment. So, is having a #1 record, travelling all over the world, staying in 5-star hotels, and having hundreds of thousands of fans screaming at you in concerts actually everything that it's cracked up to be? So you're probably wondering what gives me the right to speak to these people. So back in the early to mid 90s, I was once a member of a boy band called Bad Boys Inc. We were signed to a major label in the UK, and we were very lucky to have had a few hits across the world. But as quickly as we appeared, it was just as quick when we disappeared. For this episode, I'm absolutely delighted to speak with a fellow Scot from Glasgow. He had a huge global hit in 1986 with My Favourite Waste of Time. And just as quickly as he appeared, very much like us, he also disappeared, which meant he became a one-hit wonder. Let's find out his story. Welcome to the Accidental Pop Star, Owen Paul. Owen, it's lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for jumping on. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Hey, Owen, see, can I take you right back to the beginning, right back to your youth?
Yes.
Was music always in your DNA?
Well, I think because of my mom, yes.
Yeah.
Because of my mom. Not my dad is Irish, was Irish,
Mm.
and he was born in Donegal, and so there's a lot of Celticness about our whole system. So obviously, but my mom was much more musical than my dad was, right?
Okay.
So I'll give you an example, right? It's not a story I tell often, but it's true, right? When my mom's dad, who was, I think, in the army in the Second World War, got, what's that thing called? D-mob something?
Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
Right, you get the idea, right?
Yeah, I think I know what
So,
you mean.
so they come back from India.
Yeah.
He was fighting in India for a whole period of years, and then came back to his children in the Gorbals in Glasgow,
Mm.
and he gets this thing called D-mob money,
Okay.
right? Which
Okay.
is supposed to support him in the transition from being out of the army and back to his family, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what did he do with that money? He bought a piano.
Did he?
Yes, he did. He didn't buy anything for himself. He bought a piano. He then made one of the daughters, Nancy, my mum's sister. She had already been learning how to play in school, whatever, and he made Nancy play at the front window in the street in the Gorbals, and they opened up the window wide so the
Yeah.
whole street could hear the piano, and they all sang along.
Oh, really?
Now that is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. That's
That
special.
is that is how you do it.
Yeah.
That is how you do it.
That's
So
cool.
anyway, obviously because of my mom, she's very musical and very Celtic, and she's a cracking singer, but she's very soft and she doesn't sing much and whatever. I was surrounded by music from very early on. My dad was a country and western fan, which I hated, and when we used to drive long journeys between Glasgow to Stranraer and then Stranraer to Larne to get to Ireland, it was like 8 hours of Jim Reeves and country music. It was horrible
Mm.
until I heard Glenn Campbell, and I went, "Hang on a minute, this is all right." Then I heard something else, and went, "That's all right,"
Mm.
and whatever. And then obviously, a bit like yourself, and I'm sure this is true of you. And then every year, New Year's Eve, classic Scottish tradition.
Yeah.
Uh, Everyone goes, "Okay, we're all going to sing now." It's the bells coming at midnight, and what are you going to sing? I go, well, I haven't got a song. I don't actually sing. I'm really quite shy, actually. Well, are you going to do something? Do a joke, sing a thing, do a thing. Well, so over years, I got used to singing in front of people and making up a song or doing a thing of a song that I knew, like a Glen Campbell, like a rhinestone cowboy, ding bong bing. I would do something like that or something, right? Which was a crowd pleaser,
Mm.
which became my sort of go-to position when things are going wrong. Please the crowd, and then you can move on, right? So I've been surrounded by that kind of music and very Celtic-y and folky type things all my life.
Okay.
So my mum caused that, my granddad caused that. He bought the piano with his money, the only money he had after the war, World War II, blah. And then here we are. And then suddenly I'm at school. I've been playing for Celtic for a while. I've been signed as a teenager,
Yeah.
and it looks like I'm going to have a career with Charlie Nicholas and Paul McStay and Roy Aitken and Tommy Barnes and Diggy Ding Bong Bang Bang. And then my stupid older brother Brian,
Uh, let- let-
don't intervene. My stupid brother Brian in 1970 blah with his mates suddenly decide that punk is happening, which it clearly was,
yeah.
and the Sex Pistols was happening, the Clash and the Damned and those things. And we're all at the same school at Holyrood Secondary, which is a school that's brought out millions of famous people like Travis and more. Um, he, him and his friends decide they're going to make a band as a motivational thing. They used to play new singles before they started rehearsing to get them in the mood, right?
Okay.
So they played Anarchy in the UK,
Yeah. Yeah.
New Rose by the Damned, White Riot by the Clash, blah 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 blah. Then they start making their racket. Then I drift and not be interested anymore. And I remember sitting upstairs going, "Oh, what was that Anarchy in the UK thing? What is that? That is the rackety, weirdest noise I've ever heard in my life." I didn't think about it as a musical thing. I felt like it was a empowering freedom thing that was
Mm.
going on.
Mm.
Right? I felt that. Right? I felt some kind of this makes me feel like we can do anything. I don't have to be a virtuoso to play guitar. I could just hit it until I make a good sound and then off I go. Or I can do blah 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 blah. You get the idea, right? As a concept. So two things happened, right? One, I stopped playing football immediately.
Yeah.
My dad was mortified because I'm signed for Celtic and I played for my country and everything, right? As a youth and Scottish schoolboys and all that, right? And it was like the dream of my father that I played for Celtic as a full team player. And then suddenly I went, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to try and be in a band and make a racket and a noise now. Anyway, the band downstairs in our basement was the Simple Minds.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. You see, what I find fascinating about your brother Brian being the original drummer in
Yeah,
Simple Minds
yeah.
is, did you ever want to sort of be like him artistically, or did you want to find your own identity? But how much of an influence was he on you?
Well, he still influences me today,
Okay.
right? He does massively, but not in the way you think, right? So at no point back then did I think I want to be like him. I think that's a great thing, blah. I thought once they ended up on the Old Grey Whistle test and they were doing their first album, I thought, a bit like everyone at my school, we all went, hang on a minute, if they can do that, we could do that. In our school, Simple Minds are suddenly on the Old Grey Whistle test, and we're like, hang on a second, whoa, we didn't think I want to be them. We thought we can have a go at this,
Yeah. Okay.
right?
Okay.
So at my school, right, all the guys that saw that happening suddenly went, like Stephen Henry when he won the World Championship. Everyone's out playing snooker, blah. We all went, hang on a minute, we could have a go. So suddenly it was me, Altered Images, Travis, and Lloyd Cole and Commotion.
Texas.
They were Texas. They're all at my school,
Yeah.
and they just suddenly went, hang on a minute, that's a real job. We could do this.
Okay. But Owen, did you understand even then the concept of how to try and get a record deal? Did you understand that process?
No, not at
So
all.
how did you educate yourself?
Over time, I'm now in a band. I've now moved to London because they said so, and I went, yeah, okay, blah blah. And they were doing gigs like the Marquee and doing things. It's going well, and it's all good, blah. But I didn't like the way they were playing the songs that I'd heard in my head. I was like, well, this doesn't sound like what I heard. Or weird, blah. So again, I'm not thinking about money. I'm not thinking about getting a manager. I'm not thinking about getting a record deal. I have no concept of that in my head whatsoever.
Okay.
I'm like 18, 19-ish at this point, and we're doing it a few years. I have no concept about selling things or getting a manager or getting a record deal. Right. So this goes on for a while, and then around, I don't know, 79, 80, something like that. 1979, 1980, sort of thing. I suddenly go to the guys in the band, listen, I'm out, I'm out. I say, I don't like the way this is going, this is not for me. Blah. And we'd all moved down together, so there's 5 of us, and we're all living together in this courty thing, blah, in Hackney or somewhere. And I decided to strike out on my own. Within about, must be 2 days, a certain chap called Peter Powell, Radio 1 DJ, phoned my number and said, hi Owen, how you doing? I go, yeah, fine. He said, I've heard a rumour you've left the band. I went, yeah. I said, I didn't want to be the guy to tell you to do that, so I waited until you did.
Oh, really? Is that what you said?
That's exactly what he said, right? And he said, I didn't want to be the guy to tell you to do that because they're all your school friends and all that. I went, yeah. He said, but I just waited until you do it. He said, guess what's going to happen? I went, what? He went, I'm going to manage you.
Wow.
I was like, Pete, you're a Radio 1 DJ. You can't manage anyone. He went, yeah, but we're going to invent somebody else. And they're going to look like your manager, but I'm going to be the guy doing it. I was like, all right. Yeah.
You see, that's so interesting because just to put that into context for people that might not know, so Peter Powell was a hugely popular Radio 1 DJ in late 70s, early 80s. And he then went on to become a hugely successful manager of artists like Anthea Turner, Andy
Ant and Dec.
Ant and Dec. And funnily enough, his management office was connected to our manager's office in Hammersmith. So I got to know Peter very, very well.
No, that is interesting to me.
Yeah. A brilliant guy, an absolutely brilliant guy, a genius.
Absolute genius. An absolute genius.
Yeah. And I tried to, I wanted him to be my manager for a while, but.
Well, listen, if we had known each other, I would have made him do it.
Yeah, he's the best guy, and I always looked on in envy of the artists that he looked after, big TV stars in the during my era, sort of the mid 90s to late 90s.
Yeah.
So when I found that out, on, I was absolutely thrilled to learn that Peter started managing you.
But even more importantly, right?
Yeah.
As an aside, because I still talk to Pete now. Right?
Yeah.
Even more importantly, he's on Radio 1. He's on top of the. He's presenting Top of the Pops.
Right.
Blah 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 blah. He's doing the Radio 1 road shows. He's making an absolute fortune.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's found a little guy who's a bit shiny that he likes the music of. Right?
Yeah.
And in his own head, he thinks, I'm going to manage him.
Yeah.
and I'm gonna create a management company based on him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was the first one.
Ah, right. Okay.
I'm on their walls.
Serious. Do you know? It's all coming back to me. It really is. Um,
I'm on their walls.
just the what was the name of his management company again? It's completely escaped me.
James Grant.
James Grant. My God. Yeah, yeah.
Because Peter's middle name is James
Yes.
and Russ's middle name is Grant.
Yeah, of course, James Grant. Oh my God. I used
They
to
had
see him
the
nearly every day for
yeah.
2 or 3 years because he
Well,
was literally
they had
right
Ant
next
and
to me.
Deck, Davina
Yeah,
McCall,
yeah.
Phil
Phil
Schofield,
Schofield. Yeah,
Anthea Turner.
yeah.
You
Darren
could
Day.
name Darren Day, name
Yeah,
them all. They had them all.
yeah. So listen, I have to ask you. So you've now got Peter as your manager, and things are obviously progressing. But I have to ask you:
Hmm.
did you seek any sort of legal advice?
Well, Pete said I should.
And did you?
I did like you would do when you're unemployed, which I was.
Yeah,
You go to citizen advice.
yeah,
So I went to citizen advice and said, "There's a situation here. These guys I think they're going to fund me. Blah. They're going to buy me stuff so I can make demos on a cassette machine. Blah blah blah." And I said, "I think they're going to want 20% of my income and blah. What do I do?" So I didn't do proper legal advice, but I
yeah.
did do citizen advice.
You see, the reason I asked that, Owen, is
Hmm.
because there are so many stories, as you know, of people who go into the industry expecting certain things to happen. I'm also very guilty of that and did not seek, even though we were given a lawyer and he did his very best for us, I
Right.
still believed we should have gone to somebody independent and we should have done more due diligence, which is obviously hindsight, but we were very
Of
young
course.
kids like
Of course.
yourself. Hence why I'm asking the question, because you are on the cusp of signing a record deal and
Yeah.
becoming a pop star. And because of my own experiences, that was the reason why I was asking the question, because it does get neglected by some people.
Very much so. And obviously, like you just said yourself, the whole music business is littered with
Yeah,
problems
yeah,
like Dick James music with Elton John and David Bowie with Main Man and blah. There's Google all of that, guys. The troubles out there, and they all signed their life away for 10 pence,
yeah,
right?
of course.
And then they had to fight it back
Yeah,
later on in life, blah. So I do understand that, but in that moment, and I'm sure you were the same. In that moment, when I was Pete and he's began to finance me, and he began to give me stuff and equipment and things and blah blah blah, and still got no idea of getting a record deal or anything. I'm just writing music in my room and on the little bed set that I had. And just doing that, and he's just waiting. This is going to sound frivolous, but I think he's just waiting on me to write a hit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what
I get
that's
that.
what he's waiting. He
Yeah,
thinks
yeah, no,
I'm
I
a
get
pop.
that. I
He
get that.
thinks I'm a pop star. He
Yeah,
thinks I'm a pop star. That's what he thought when he first saw me. He thought that guy's a pop star,
yeah,
and he's just waiting on me to write a hit, which I didn't have, right? So that's how it's going. But I never thought that much about the legals. I went to citizen advice
yeah.
to
Okay.
make sure they had covered me, and it was all got put on records and whatever. So I was covered to a point, but nowhere near that I could compete with a Sony or CBS or
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Warner's
Okay.
financially to even compete with them. They just blow me out of the water.
Yeah,
They
no, I
keep
understand.
they keep me in court so long that I go bankrupt trying to fight them for 200 grand.
Mm.
That's
Yeah,
what they do.
yeah, of course. No, I understand that. For
So
me. For me. It's always an exercise in protection. And I just felt we should have. I'm using my own experience here. We should have protected ourselves more.
well, explain to me what were you doing? What were you trying to protect there?
Well, first and foremost, I kind of we went into it not really knowing what we were getting into. We were all plucked from obscurity, thrown together, and the next thing we
Right.
know, we have a manager, and then we have a record deal.
Yeah,
And it was, the whole legality of it was so complicated that it just went right over my head.
of course.
And but because of this image that you're going to become a pop star, that you're going to become famous, that you're going to become wealthy, that it's almost like, well, just give me that piece of paper, I'm going to sign it. That is the image that is
No,
portrayed, and that's the
mate,
story that is portrayed. But it's not
no,
like that, Owen, is it?
no, but it's not. But actually, the bit you just said is true.
Yeah,
There is a part of you that goes, "Oh, this is all too complex. Where's the paper? I'll sign it."
exactly, exactly. Owen, I have to ask you about my favorite waste of time, because obviously that is what everybody knows you for. But
Of
what I
course.
want to what I want to know from you as an individual, and just your own personal feelings and thoughts on this.
Hmm.
When did you start to think it became a hit record? During the recording, or by the reaction that you were receiving once it was recorded? When did you start to get that gut instinct?
Well, I'm not one to be humble and shy. As soon as we finished the recording, I did 3 vocal takes. The band pretty much played it live
Yeah.
in one go in a room. And then we did a rough mix, and I went, this is going to be massive. I knew
Was
it.
was there a rush to get it out?
No,
No. Okay.
no, no. I just thought right away, and I had a bit of a panic for me because I thought, oh my God, this is going to be massive.
Yeah.
Then I thought, then I thought the opposite. I thought maybe we shouldn't play it for the record company because I've been signed as a rock act, and this is very poppy,
Okay. Which
and this might ruin my career here.
yeah, I want to come on to that in just a moment. I do want to come on to that and the whole image and fame thing. So just bear with me, because I will come on to that. But
Okay.
after you released it, it did take a couple of weeks before it charted in the top 30.
Oh, listen, it took more than a couple of weeks.
Okay. But at any point during those days, did you think it was not going to happen?
I'd love to say yes to that, but it's not. I thought it was going to be gigantic.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone did. Everyone in that room did.
Yeah.
Then stupidly we let CBS Sony hear it, and they went, "This is going to be a smash!" Blah
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
How much do you want for promotion? Blah blah blah. Everyone thought it. I thought it. Everyone thought it. There was
Okay.
not a second. There was not a second where we thought this might not work. But I tell you, irony of it, right? And this is proper irony, I think, is that you're right. It'd been out for some weeks and it hadn't charted or anything, right? And I think it was like 45 or somewhere out the top
Yeah.
40,
47, I
just
think
out.
it was. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Well
Yeah.
done, you, Mr. Data. Right, so it was something like that. You're probably right. It's 47. It was outside the chart, right?
Yeah.
Then I did the infamous Pebble Mill television appearance, where things went a bit wrong,
Yeah.
live on air, to a multitude of millions of people watching because there was only 3 channels at the time.
Sure.
This is even before Channel 4.
Sure.
Because Channel 4 happened in late 86. There's only 3 channels and the Sun newspaper and the Mirror, and that's what everyone knows. So if you're in there, everyone knows who you are, right? So I do this thing on Pebble Mill. The track goes wrong. I didn't get to sing the song at all, and blah. And it's, hi, this is Owen Paul. This is going to be the biggest song of the summer. Blah blah blah. Here it comes. Sing it, Owen. Hey. Then the track doesn't play in my monitor, so I can't hear it, so I can't mime, which I shouldn't have agreed to anyway. But I can't play along, blah. And I just stand there like the Mona Lisa,
Hmm.
and I don't move. And the reason I did that was because I'd seen a couple of bad experiences with other TV people. One is Fergal Sharkey,
Yeah.
when he did a bad thing, in my view, when I think the song was a good heart to be a heart. But I think it was that song, and he was doing the launch of Virgin,
Okay.
and he had the same problem. He couldn't hear the track, but the viewer watching can hear the track.
Of course.
So they're wondering why something's not right here, but he can't hear it. And I remember Fergal running around looking at the cameras going, what the, gesticulating all over the place. And I always decided at that point, if that ever happened to me, I ain't going to move. I'm not going to move. I'm going to stand still. Anyway, turns out I stood still for like 70 seconds.
Yeah.
And I could see the red light on top of the camera, right?
Yeah.
And because I've been around, I know that means we're still rolling here, but there's no song, and they're still rolling. That camera's coming at me inch by inch by inch,
Mm.
the longest 70 seconds in my life.
Mm.
However, here comes the irony. We went from 47 into the top 30,
You did.
selling 50,000 copies a day, because that ended up in every news item, every newspaper the next day, and suddenly they thought, hang on a second, it's not just a song, there's a guy here.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's about. And that's why I think Pete understands management and
Yeah. Totally.
marketing,
Yeah.
right? Is that
Totally.
you can have a song, good. You can have a person, good. Can you make the people hear a song that they like a song, see a human,
Mm.
and remember the human because he has a certain thing that's only him,
Yeah.
and that's what happened that day.
Okay. So due to your image,
Yes,
and because obviously the song got bigger and bigger and bigger and eventually ended up at number 3,
yeah.
um, you are naturally going to attract a certain market. Um, but
I
do
hate. I hated it.
Yeah, I know, but and this is what I'm leading to. So, do you think at that time too much emphasis was placed on targeting that market? And were you ever involved in any of the conversations about how your management saw your image?
No, no, no.
Okay.
I wasn't. I wasn't.
And do you
Uh,
regret that?
oof, I don't have regrets. That's the
Okay.
first thing.
Okay.
I just accept things for the way they are, and we move on.
Yeah. So you're
And,
going with
and
the flow.
well, I just accept things. I don't regret anything.
Okay.
I just, and my children hate me for that. They think I should miss them, but actually I don't. I just look forward to seeing them the next time.
Very nice. I like that a lot.
That's the truth. That's the truth.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
my kids don't like it. They want me to go, oh, I really missed you. I won't actually, I didn't miss you for 1 second. But boy, am I looking forward to seeing you. But and
Um,
but
y-
and but in that same regard, I
yeah.
don't have any regrets about anything,
Okay.
right? But
Okay.
I didn't know much about what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
About how the image was being projected or selling around. I didn't have much to do with that.
Okay.
I knew about Pete wanting to get the image that became the summer flick. That means it was a hit in Australia and America and blah for 16, 17 weeks and more because they had this image in their mind. And even now, when I play it at a festival like I did last year, and I will do this year, and I just sang the opening line, and everyone goes, "Summertime."
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what they feel, and
Yeah.
I love that about it. I
Of
love
course.
that,
Of course.
right? And Pete understood that, and he conveyed that, and then we sold that idea, and blah blah blah. But at no point did I think I should be in Smash Hits and number one magazine and blah blah blah. Blah. I never thought of that. That just happened as a sort of aside.
Mm.
I just used to get the phone call, can you go to such and such a studio? Russ will pick you up. They'll take 17 pictures of you in multitude of angles. They'll spray water on you to make you look to make you look sweaty because girls like that. I was like, what is going on? What is going on? I just want to make a record here.
Yeah.
I'll write a song, whatever, leave me alone. And this became my daily life.
Oh, yeah. Of
Where
course.
it was telly in Belgium. I mean, I'm talking like, you know, private jets and 8-seater planes and where I didn't even have leg room. It's like, and then we would do that telly at 4 o'clock in the morning. Then I have to go on the Wogan show. Then I have to fly back to somewhere else. Blah blah blah.
See, because obviously you have a huge record, not just in the UK but globally.
Yeah.
This obviously means now that you've become very famous. So for you, was famous good fun or was
No.
it a burden?
burden, 100%.
Yeah. Tell me why.
Well, the most strangest thing about it is, right, it's obviously, most people, even now in the modern era, because obviously anyone on the internet can become famous on TikTok or whatever in 5 seconds, right? But then it was 25 million people watching me on a Tuesday night,
Yeah.
and and then the next morning I can't go out my front door because there's
Mm.
rows and rows of people, right? Whereas the day before I'd walked down that street and not a girl had looked at me. Now there's queues and queues and queues and queues and queues. But that wasn't the weirdest thing to me. The weirdest thing to me was my own relatives, right? So I go back. So I'm living in London. I'm suddenly famous. I'm on the Rogan show. I'm on Top of the Pops. I'm on blah. I'm on this front page of the Sun and diggy ding bong bang bang. All sounds lovely. Blah. We're all making a million. No, we're not. Somebody else says that it's not me. So anyway, and then when I go back home to my mum's house, say, I just want to do the usual things. I want to, have a sausage sandwich and talk about the gas bill and so on and so forth. But I found that my family and friends thought that I wasn't that guy. They thought I was like an alien
Yep.
virtually,
Yep.
and they thought I wanted to talk about Lear jets and
Yes.
the Bahamas and no, I want to talk about the gas
Yeah.
price.
Yeah.
No, I want to stick with that. Can we stick with that?
Yeah.
I'll tell you the scariest thing that ever happened to me during that time. During that time, the scariest thing that I suddenly panicked internally is when my dad called me Owen Paul.
Yeah.
That's not my name.
No, I get that.
That's not my name. I looked at him and I went, "What are you doing?" He said something, something, something. Do you want something, something? Do you want a coffee, Owen Paul? I went, "Whoa, that's not my name.
Yeah.
My name is Owen McGee. What are you doing?" This was in my living room at my mum's house.
Yeah.
That frightened me.
You see, oh, and again, it's really fascinating because my late father once introduced me to one of his business colleagues as his pop star son,
There you go.
and I was absolutely mortified, and
I know how you feel.
it was the only time that I ever felt really disappointed in him, and I absolutely went through him in the car on the way home back to the village.
I'm sure you did.
And what I always struggled with, like what you're saying about fame, is that there was an element of friends and relatives who almost expected you to be different. And
Yes.
somebody actually gave me some great advice. They actually said to me, Ali, it's not you that will be different, it will be them that will be different. And there's nothing you can do with it. So just always stay you.
I don't know who said that to you, but in my experience, they're 100% right.
It was Tony Hadley from Spandau Ballet. Yeah,
No. Big Tone.
yeah,
Bloody hell.
yeah. It's
Did he
Tony
say
Hadley.
that to you?
Yeah, yeah,
I love Tony.
yeah. Because Tony and I we used to play football together for a charity football team, which was attributed to Arsenal Football Club, and we became very close.
Yeah, he's a
Um,
gooner.
yeah, and Tony was he he became almost like a mentor to me.
Right.
Let's just put it that way. And that was his advice. So
I,
I
I think
like you.
I think he's completely right.
Yeah, he was right.
Every, every,
Absolutely,
every,
he
every,
was
everyone
right.
think everyone thinks you become famous and you become an arsehole,
Yeah,
but actually you haven't changed at all.
exactly.
And then everyone around you is starting to act weird.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, whoa, they're like putting out carpets for you and things. And whoa, no, 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 no. Just put me in the bed like I always sleep in and don't do that. And
yeah,
don't call me, for fuck's sake, don't call me Owen Paul.
yeah.
Because it's not my name.
I know, I know. I want to know, Owen, after you have this unbelievable hit, which has just catapulted you into world fame. But why did you step away?
Well, I kind of hinted at it before.
Yeah,
when we finished the record, and I thought, unashamedly, I thought this is going to be a smash. This is
Mm.
going to be a smash. In the room with all the guys, we all went, "This is going to be a smash." And I thought, "Oh, it's a bit poppy, isn't it? I'm actually a rock guy. This is going to be a problem." And I thought, if the record company hear this, they're going to want more of that and less of the other thing that they signed me for. They signed me as a rock act, and I was right. And surely every other time I went in to make demos after the track was out in a smash all across the world, they wanted Favorite Waste of Time Part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, blah. When I wanted to make rock tracks.
Yeah.
And it became a, you know, I know it's a cliche, but it's a cliche because it actually rings some truth. I became a square peg in a round hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm looking gorgeous on Smash Hits. I've got lovely hair on the One magazine. I'm looking good. I'm looking good on top of the pops. Blah 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 blah. But actually, I'm a sweaty Mick Jones, Keith Richards kind of guy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it became a real problem.
So were you not being true to yourself, do you think?
100% no.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%
Yeah.
not. I became a watered down version of me,
Yes.
and then I had to make an album really quickly because it was so big. They wanted an album done in 3 weeks, when in fact, Favorite Waste of Time, we did in a day. So in theory, we could do an album in 3 weeks. But actually, I didn't even have the song. So I'm like, guys, please, whatever, blah, hold it. I'm a rock act. I don't do pop records. I did one by accident, sort of thing. And it's true, blah. And it went on and on and on like that. And then they started to say, well, if we don't get it to sound like that, we can't support you or give you a budget for videos and promotion and blah. I went, well, stuff you. Then I won't give you my tracks. So
Okay.
then I so then I faked writer's block.
Mm.
I faked it, right?
Mm.
So so they said, okay, have you got the new tracks for the new album for next year after November? Blah. I went, no. I said, I haven't got anything. I've got writer's block. So them had EMI Publishing. They were my publisher, and CBS Sony were my record company. Right. So they sent me to anywhere I wanted to go to try and get my mojo back as a songwriter. Right. So I went to Wales, which was interesting. A place called Abu Dhabi,
Mm.
interesting. Lots of sheep everywhere, and I had a studio there. Blah blah blah. Then they sent me to St. Lucia, and they sent me to the Bahamas, and weirdly, my mojo didn't come up with anything. I was lying, of course. I'd written a lot of songs during that period, and I wasn't giving them it. And then I met through a friend of a friend, a guy called Chris Blackwell, who happens to be the guru of giganticness, who invented Island Records.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And he knows about how this works in the music industry. And he went, I hear you've got some trouble. I went, yeah, I do. Yeah. I said, I don't want to give them a record. They won't do anything with them. Unless they're poppy records, they won't help me. They're going to finish me. I was like, all right. I went, okay. Well, why don't you come to my place in the Bahamas and record there for 6 months? We don't tell them. I went, that sounds like a deal I could take. So that's what I did. And then Island Records was sold to Phonogram. It all gets very complicated, and
Yeah. Yeah.
he's signed U2 and Robert Palmer. It's now a gigantic machine, and he forgets that I'm there,
Oh, okay.
pretty much. But he came back, but he forgot that I was there. He'd be like, "Oh my god, I've sold the record company." I went, "Yeah, Chris, that's not helpful." I said, because whoever your guys were, they're now being sold, and they don't even know who I am, and blah. Blah blah blah. Anyway, then Sony sued me for breach of contract. I then sued them for malpractice, and then we just decided just to sign a document and go walk away.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
get that.
that's how it happened.
Okay. Last question.
Okay, good. Can't wait.
If you could have your time again
Mm-hmm.
and change your clock and do anything different from that period in your life, what would you do differently?
You have to ask me that again very slowly.
Okay. If you could turn back the clock,
Hmm.
have your time again,
Hmm.
and change anything or do something differently, what would you do differently?
Obviously, because I've said I have no regrets about anything,
Yeah.
that question's quite a difficult one for me.
Okay.
But I'll give you the simple answer, and it's very quick.
Okay.
I would never let Sony hear a favourite waste of time.
You'd never do what, sorry?
I'd never let Sony Records hear favourite waste of time.
Okay.
I'd never hand it in.
Okay. Why?
Because it was a poppy record made on a whim, because I'm very whimsical. And apparently, when you're a rock act, you can't be whimsical. And apparently, if you're this kind of act, you can't be that. And if you're a soul act, you can't do that. I don't agree with any of that. I think you can do anything.
Yeah.
And I thought I could make a pop, whimsical, summery, happy thing. And then they wanted 15 versions of that, and I hated every second of it. And I love the record. I'm very
Yeah.
proud of it. I'm
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
proud. I'm very proud of it. I'm not. I mean, seriously, I'm very, very proud of it. And it's made my name, and I still get work because of it and all that.
Sure.
But it wasn't what I was signed as, and the only single thing that I would change that I didn't actually play it to them.
Okay. I'm sorry. One more. I just have to react to what you said.
Oh no, you're
Sorry.
cheating!
Sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
You're cheating!
Are you comfortable in your own skin about what happened to you?
I completely, 100%,
Okay, good, good. I'm
hundred
glad to
percent.
hear it because I, I always want to finish positively, Owen. You know, because I know,
Mhm.
you know, I've been very lucky to have interviewed a few folk, and I've always, some of them have been a little bit negative towards the end of the interview, which I totally understand and I get. Trust me, I've been there, I've bought the CD, I've worn the T-shirt, but
I'm sure you have.
yeah, but I think it's important to finish positively and knowing that you are comfortable in your own skin.
Well, I am, and the reason I am is, and I've alluded to it throughout
Yeah,
the chat,
yeah,
throughout the chat, is whether I was a football player, whether I was a musician, whether I was rubbish, I couldn't actually play the guitar, but I could hold the guitar right, blah.
mm, mm,
I was always very comfortable in my own skin. I think it's a lot to do with my mum.
yeah,
She convinced me that I was a something, right?
yeah,
And that I was okay as a human being. I was a nice human being, and I treated people nice, and I spoke nice, and I had manners. My mum has like a mantra, right? And I'll say it at her funeral, by the way. She had this mantra, and it's very simple: be nice, be mannerly,
yeah,
do your best,
yeah,
and don't hate.
yeah. Good for her.
And that I have carried since she repeatedly said it as,
Mm,
in my youth, and she said it to all of us, and she said it to me a lot. I went with that. So when things went wrong, I didn't hate anyone.
yeah, good for
I didn't
you.
hate anyone. I didn't
Good
hate
for you.
him. And I just went, I'll just do my best.
Yeah,
That's it. I haven't got anything. What else have I got? I've just got my best. I'll give you my best. That's it.
mm,
The only thing I would, get upset with, like a Brian Clough would say, or Jock Stein would say, you walk off the pitch and you didn't do your best.
yeah,
Now
yeah,
that would annoy me,
yeah,
right? That would annoy me. So if I'm doing a record or a demo or a song or a musical or a thing or acting thing or blah de blah, I am going to go press the button on do your best,
yeah,
like my mum said, and then walk away. You win or lose, who cares?
yeah.
And that is my positive message for the night.
Good man. Owen, it's been absolutely fantastic. I've loved talking to you. Thank you so much for telling me your story. And honestly, I wish you nothing but every success going forward. So thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely my pleasure. Anytime, sir.
Thank you. Take care.
Cheers.
My thanks to Owen Paul. I really hope you enjoyed today's chat with Owen. Just so you know, a massive 75% of you who watch The Accidental Pop Star haven't actually subscribed to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything, and I would be very grateful if you wouldn't mind pressing that old subscribe button. It just means that we continue to build and we'll be able to bring you more and more interviews. Okay, so we're done for this episode of The Accidental Pop Star. I really hope you enjoyed the chat with Owen, and I'll see you again very soon for our brand new show. Take care, see you soon.